What is the crack, lads? My name is Anamiba and this is being exiled to the kitchen because my son's in the sitting room watching Tarzan for the 6th time today. Also, I have the washing machine on, so it might be a bit loud. Sorry about that. I'm the queen of bad timing. So let's get into the video. So this week in Dublin there was a case of a mother stabbing her 3-year-old son to death with a kitchen knife. That's very horrific, and I don't really think much else needs to be said about that. What I want to focus on in this video is the general reaction that the public had to this story when it first came out, and then later, and more specifically, when it was revealed that the perpetrator of this horrible crime was a woman. And obviously this could be the case for any story of this kind. I'm just using this as an example because, I don't know, because it happens in my city this week. The articles about it are more easily accessible, that's it really. So the initial reaction to the story was that we need to find whoever did this and, you know, we need to hang him and he needs to rot in jail for the rest of his life. You know, along those lines. The general consensus was this was some sort of act of domestic violence or some kind of revenge act, but most importantly this was done by a man. An evil, despicable man who deserved only the worst of punishments. And I mean, I totally agree. The person, the mother who did this, deserves the worst of punishments because who does that to a child? But then when it was confirmed that this was actually the mother, a woman, suddenly everyone did a bit of a 180 and all of a sudden it was a tragedy and, you know, she was a victim of a broken system that failed to recognise the warning signs and it was a cry for help. And some people even tried to justify her actions, saying that, oh, but she was divorced, she was on rent allowance, her son had autism. I mean, you can even see the reactions of this person as she goes from describing this individual as being a horrible person that we need to find immediately, and then when she's informed that it was actually the mother, suddenly she hopes that she gets the help that she's clearly crying out for. Why the double standard? And of course, as is always the case, when a woman does something horrible like this, the mental health card was pulled, because surely it wasn't her fault, she's mentally ill. And no sane woman would do something like this. And as if all that wasn't bad enough, people are now blaming the father of this child, saying that had he not done X, Y, Z, then this child would still be alive, and this would have never happened, which I am sure he hasn't thought to himself thousands of times within the past few days. So according to this paper titled Estimating Gender Disparities in Federal Cases by Sonia Starr of the University of Michigan, men on average receive 63% longer sentences for the same crimes, and women are twice as likely to avoid conviction. Let's let that sink in. And the same paper also states that prosecutors may be affected by sympathy or a sense of fairness influenced by legally relevant factors such as gender. This paper also states that even when you take all other, outside factors such as drug use versus non-drug use, there is, no matter how you choose to look at it, there is more leniency shown towards women in every step of the legal process. And also, on a very interesting note, I believe, when women are reported doing crimes, they are less likely than men to be arrested for those crimes. So very clearly there is a bias in favour of women. And another paper, or rather a dissertation by Jill K. Journer, I'm very sorry I completely butchered that name, titled, what's the title? Let's see, it has a really long title. Explaining the gender gap in sentencing outcomes, an investigation of federal treatment in the US federal law, states that women of all racial or ethnic backgrounds receive less severe sentences than males in those same racial and ethnic backgrounds. And both of these studies bring up the issue of defendants with children, that judges might be less likely to give an incarceration sentence to a person with a dependent child because who's going to take care of the child. However, the study from the University of Michigan points out that even in the cases where the defendant has no children, there is still a gender bias. So obviously that doesn't explain the entire reason for this gender gap, although it might explain some of it. So before I wrap up this video, I just want to read a paragraph from an article by Catherine Hornby, which describes better than I ever could just why we give these lenient sentences to women and why it's so hard for us to just accept that sometimes women do commit terrible crimes. And of course, everything that I've referenced in this video is linked in the description, and I strongly recommend you read this article because it's great. And without further ado, let's get into it. So it reads as follows. We view women who kill in domestic settings with horror, except those who are mentally ill, seen as defending themselves against domestic violence, or carrying out so-called mercy killings of their children. For individual women, this can result in sympathetic legal treatment, but treatment that removes responsibility from them and a chance of justice for those affected. Men who kill their young children, even if they are mentally disturbed, are very rarely treated with similar sympathy. It's as if it's so ingrained into us that men are just naturally violent and capable of doing all these horrific things, but women are kind and gentle and caring, and if they do the same crime, then something must have made her do it. When a man commits a crime, we ask why he did it, but when a woman commits a crime, we ask what made her do it. So ultimately, while other factors such as age and level of education, past criminal history also all play, a part in this sentencing process, women still receive more lenient sentences, they are less likely to be incarcerated, they receive shorter sentences if they do, and I mean, they're even less likely to be arrested for the crimes that they commit. And I don't think that's very fair. I don't think that's very, dare I say, equal. So that is where I'm going to leave it for today. Thank you so much for watching, and it's greatly appreciated. Feel free to leave your input down in the comment section, and I shall see you in the next video. Bye!